on Inside Out. How are y'all doing today? That is awesome. That is great. Well, my name is Bennett, and if it is your first time, I am so excited that y'all chose this Sunday to come to. We have an amazing Sunday planned out. We're going to play a super fun game that I personally love. And then I'm going to have an announcement that I think y'all will love. And then my friend Audrey will be out here for part 1 of the series Bitter Sweet. So like I said, let's play a game. I need 2 people. 2 people. Cammy, I need a boy. I need a boy. And bring a friend. Yeah, you can come up and bring a friend. I need a boy and a girl. Bring a friend. He needs a teammate. Let's go, Dylan. There we go. All right. So the game we are playing is going to be Pictionary. So pretty sure y'all know how this works. We're going to have one person standing right here where they can't see the board and the other person drawing. Y'all know how to play. Y'all know how to play Pictionary, right? Okay. And don't stand in front of the board, by the way, and also don't point at anything. You're not allowed to point. If you point at something, the point does not count. All right? So, you know how to play Pictionary? So that they can see it. Here, you can go first. Who's drawing first? Okay. You have the mic because you're guessing. Okay. All right, y'all are gonna go first. Let's make some noise for Cammy and Camden. There we go. All right, I'm gonna show you your words, Cammy, or I'm gonna tell you. All right, we get the timer going. 3, 2, 1.
Box, house, washing machine, dryer, camera. Oh gosh, camera. Like what?
Okay.
Instagram. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh wait, keep going. Person. Oh gosh, what is that? Running. Person running. Oh gosh, person. Marathon. Love. Person in love. Somebody in love. Girl. Boy. Love.
Timer's up. I'll give you one final guess. I'll give you one final guess. No, don't tell her. One final guess. What do you think it is?
Marriage.
No. Close. No, I'll count it. It was wedding. It was wedding. I'll count it. I'll count it. So y'all got 2 points. All right, now if you could hand your mic to who's guessing and who's drawing. Awesome. Okay, so you're going to be drawing. Cammy, can we have the marker, please, over here? Thank you. Okay. All right, can we get... You ready to start? I'll tell you yours. Okay. First one. Okay. All right, 3, go. Sorry.
Circle, sunflower, flower, rose, flower, rose, hair, girl with hair, hairstyle, brunette,
You're almost there.
curly hair.
There you go, that counts. All right.
That's close enough.
You got 1 point. Let's make some noise for your small groups.
Table,
I cannot hear my boys. Let's make some noise for our small group. Thank you, thank you.
person on a table, jumping, trampoline.
Yes, trampoline.
Sock, mitten. Square.
All right, so you got 3 points to 2 points. All right, now they're gonna go one more time. How many did y'all get? You got, what all did you get? They had 2. They got 2. They didn't have 2. Okay. All right. You got again? guessing. Okay. Okay. All right, can we get the timer up there?
Yeah, go then. Ocean, swimming. Swimming. Cat, dog,
That's a third point. 3 to 3.
mouse. Whiskers, crying cat. What is that? Mike Wazowski. Spider, frog.
Frog, yes.
Those aren't ears. Those are eyes. Box. Wait. Writing, paper, Declaration of Independence. Dots. Human, pushing. Waves. Drawing, teacher.
You're almost there.
Professor.
I'm just
drawing,
kidding, you're not.
board, teacher, board. Writing on a board. Dots on a board.
Come on, Kevin. Come on, Kevin.
Painting.
Come on, Kevin.
Drawing. Drawing?
Come on.
Scribbles.
Okay, they got. It was in fact a whiteboard. You never put the white in there. You only said board.
How can I have drawn a white? Why did you draw
All right, so y'all got 1 point. So y'all have 3 points now. So you wanna? All right, there we go. It's your turn to guess. Now Dylan is drawing. All right. Your word is. All right, go. It's 3 to 3 as of now. If they get 1 point, they win.
Bell.
It's 2 rounds. And winner's taking home some cookies. I forgot to mention.
Person.
Yes, they are. You got it yet?
Jacket.
Close.
Hoodie.
Hoodie, yes. No, we gotta finish it out.
Flag. Building. Shelves.
What type of shelves?
Bookshelves.
Bookshelves, yes. The score is 5 to 3. The sophomore boys take it home. Make some noise. Y'all are going home with some amazing cookies. I will be eating one of those later. Thank you. All right, guys, that was very fun. Maybe disappointing for some of you, but we did have some winners take home some cookies over here. So now, like I said, I have a big announcement for us, a save the date announcement. I need everybody, make sure they have nothing on their calendars for January 14th through 16th, because My Life will be coming back this year. If you have never been to My Life, we are in the same boat, but My Life will have lots of music, insane sessions, a ton of games, time with your small group. It's basically a retreat with your small groups, and it is so much fun. I've only heard amazing things about it. So save the date, make sure you have nothing going on, put it on your calendar, and yeah. And now, like I said, Audrey will be coming up here for part 1 of Bittersweet. So watch this video, and she'll be right up.
Have you ever come across someone who thinks differently than you? Have you guys ever come across someone who thinks differently than you? I certainly have, because we all have different and unique perspectives that shape how we see the world. In fact, I want to show you guys just how different every single person in this room is right now. So in just a second, I'm going to ask you guys to stand up, and I'm going to show you guys a series of pictures. Okay, and if you prefer the first picture over the other one, then you're gonna come to the left side of the room. And if you like the second picture, then you're gonna come on over here to the right side of the room. Okay, so why don't everyone go ahead and stand on up. And let's take a look at our first thing up here. Dogs or cats? So if you're a dog person, come on over to the left side of the room. And if you're a cat person, come on over here. This is kind of breaking my heart, not gonna lie.
I like them both.
Well, Jackson, good job, Jackson. I agree with you. I am a big cat person. High five, Jackson. I'm a big cat person. I think you guys should show a little bit more appreciation for cats. All right, let's look at the next one. Hot dogs on the left side or hamburgers on the right side? Hot dogs or hamburgers? This could be neither. This could be both, whatever you're feeling. You don't like hot dogs or hamburgers? What? Pizza? You guys prefer hot dogs over hamburgers? What? You don't like either? Okay, I'm with this side of the room over here. I think hamburgers are way better, but let's take a look at our next one. Summer or winter? Summer or winter? Fall and spring aren't an option here, so summer or winter? I know, but that's not an option right now. Just summer or winter. Fall and spring can happen at another time. All right, we're actually kind of split evenly. I'm a winter person. But summer's fun too. Summer's fun too. All right, what's our next one? UT or A&M? You don't like football? This could be, it doesn't have to be a football thing. It could just be a
I don't like any of that.
burnt orange or a maroon, I guess.
What's the better color?
What's the better color? See, as a UT student, I'm on this side, but we kind of suck right now, so horns down, I guess. Let's take a look at our next one. Captain America or Iron Man? Captain America or Iron Man? Winter Soldier's not an option. You got two options. If you know me, I'm actually very passionate about this topic. I'm a very big Captain America person myself. Sorry, Eric, I'm a Captain America kind of person over here. I think you should come on over to this side. I think next one's our last one. This one I'm also very passionate about. Kanye or Taylor? Kanye or Taylor? I see Wyatt going to Taylor. I see Wyatt going to Taylor over here. Mad respect. Yeah, this is good. This is a good, see, I'm actually very pleased by this. Cammy, what? Cammy, what? Guys, Taylor Swift is the correct answer here, but you guys can go ahead and take a seat. See, that outcome actually made me very happy. I'm a very big Taylor person myself. Red Taylor's version comes out Friday, so get hyped. I'm really excited for that one. 10-minute All Too Well. But like I said, there are so many people that are going to disagree with you. In fact, there's so many people in this room that disagree with you. And that's because we have so many different opinions and perspectives that are shaped by so many different things. Maybe the way we think is shaped by the people around us. Maybe it's by our parents or a sibling or a friend. Maybe it's by the media. Maybe it's something that we saw on TV or heard on the radio or heard in a podcast. But whatever it is, there are 7 billion people on this planet. Just think about that for a second. There are 7 billion people on this planet, give or take a few, and you are bound to find someone who doesn't agree with you. In fact, you just found someone in this room that doesn't agree with you. I disagree with all those people that chose Kanye over Taylor. I thought Taylor was the obvious option. But you know what? It's okay. I'm bound to find someone that doesn't agree with me. And when you come across that one person, those multiple people in that 7 billion, sometimes there's a little bit of tension or maybe conflict arises. And that's what we're going to be talking about in our new series called Bittersweet. And tonight, I want to focus on conflict specifically and how we deal with that conflict. Like, what do we do when we come across that person that doesn't agree with us? And you're going to find so many of those people. And for me, when I think of conflict, I think of a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, we've all had conflicts. Maybe you're currently going through something in your life. Maybe you're fighting with your parents. Okay, maybe you don't see the world the way that they see the world, and maybe they said something to you that just didn't quite sit right, so you guys are having an argument right now. Maybe it's conflict between friends or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Maybe they're putting so much pressure on you and they expect so much for you. Or they didn't follow through on something, and so now you guys are having a little bit of conflict. Maybe it's in the comment section of like a TikTok. Maybe you saw someone say something or didn't like something in that video, so you decided to comment. Now you guys are having beef in this comment section. I love reading beef in the comment sections. But everyone has conflict in their lives. And when I think conflict, I think that there's a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, I think that there's going to be a clear winner and that I need to continue to argue my case until someone agrees with me. Now, I hate conflict. Does anyone in here actually enjoy conflict and fighting? I don't think anyone actually enjoys conflict. Carson Leedy enjoys conflict. Okay, it's good to know. But sorry to call you out, Carson. But nobody really enjoys conflict. So why do we even fight with people? I know for me personally, I'm very stubborn. So if someone disagrees with me, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to argue my point until they kind of cave and they kind of come onto my side, and I'm that clear winner. Because I don't like conflict, but I like the thought of winning. Like, I like the thought of someone admitting, you are so right. Like, if I'm going to sit here and argue with someone, Kanye versus Taylor, I'm going to sit here and wait until they come to me and, Audrey, Taylor is so much better than Kanye. I agree with you. Like, I love that. But I hate that opportunity of conflict there. But it's inevitable. And so what do? Why are we sitting here and arguing? Because what if I told you guys that there isn't always a winner in conflict? What if I told you that your conflict didn't need a resolution? So if your conflict doesn't need a resolution, why are you sitting here fighting? We're sitting here fighting because we want someone who thinks differently than us to completely agree. We want someone who thinks or has a different opinion than us to completely see the world the way that we do. Well, let me tell you, I told you guys, there's 7 billion people in this world, and you're going to find someone that doesn't agree with you. God made us all different and unique, and so he didn't want us to all be the same. That would be kind of boring, I think. So you're going to find that person who doesn't agree with you. So what do? We try to get them to argue, and we're going to argue with them, and we're going to try to get them on our side. And we're going to try and be that winner. But I'm kind of stubborn, and so I'm not going to cave. Like, if someone's going to sit here and pick an argument with me, I'm never going to admit that I think that I'm wrong. Because sometimes when we're having an argument with people, don't we kind of think that the other person's, like, crazy? Like, do you guys ever, Jackson agrees with me, do you guys ever have that argument with that person, and you're like, that person is so wrong, like, why don't they just agree with me? Like, why can't they just see that Taylor is so much better than Kanye? Right? Like, I'm going to sit here and have that argument with them, and I'm going to think, they're the reason this conflict is happening. This would be so much easier if they just stopped arguing and just agreed with me. And so we go down this rabbit hole, and we keep spiraling and keep arguing for hours and hours, and we're genuinely going nowhere. And I told you guys, what if there's that opportunity where there's no resolution in a conflict? What if there's that idea that there is no clear winner? So why are we arguing? If no one's going to end up winning, if no one's going to cave and admit that the other person's right or wrong, then why are we sitting here arguing? And what would be the true win of that conflict? And I want you guys to think about that tonight. What would be the true win of that conflict? Because we don't like to argue, but we continue to do it. And for what reason? What is that purpose? What are we trying to get out of this conflict? And if you've ever been in that situation where you're like, why am I arguing with you? I hate arguing, but we're going to sit here and continue doing it, then I'm so glad that you're here tonight. I'm so glad that you guys have decided to join us, because this is going to be such a great series, and I'm so excited for it. But I want to look at the old church, because in the early church, we find conflict in there. In the book of Acts, and Acts is written by a guy named Luke, and Luke writes about this encounter between a guy named Paul and a guy named Barnabas. I know it's kind of a funny name, but it's between this guy named Paul and this guy named Barnabas. And in the early church, we find that there was conflict between different religious groups, different religious leaders, different religious authorities. And so Paul and Barnabas are these really high religious leaders in the early church, right? They went out and they created these amazing churches and planted these awesome churches and spread the good word of God. And so these two people, they think the same way, okay? They have that same goal of spreading the word of who Jesus is and what he's done for others. They have that same goal of making churches and making strong believers of Christ, okay? So what do they even have to argue about? Like, that's kind of, you're like, what do they even have to argue about? But in Acts, Luke writes that they had these arguments, and one of these arguments was about going out and who they invited. And we find in Luke that Paul says this. He says, let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns where we preach the word of the Lord and see how they're doing. So Paul's like, okay, come on, Barnabas, like, let's go out, let's go visit these old churches that we've planted, and let's make sure that they're doing great. Let's go see what we can do to make these churches better. Let's go see if they need our help. Like, come on, let's go. And that sounds great. Like, everything's good, no beef there, until we see what Luke says happened next. Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, with them. But Paul did not think that it was wise to take him, because he had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not continued with them in the work. So Paul's feeling a little hurt here, because Mark, who Barnabas wants to bring with them, ditched them last time. So Paul's like, heck no, like, I'm not bringing Mark with me. He ditched me last time. Like, we don't need him. Let's just go on our own. And Barnabas is like, hold on. Like, let's give Mark another chance here. And they had such a sharp disagreement that they parted company. Barnabas took Mark and sailed for Cyprus, but Paul chose Silas and left, commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord. He went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. When we look at this, we see that this argument right here is that Paul wants to go with Barnabas and he's ready to leave. But Barnabas says, hold up. We got to bring Mark because one, Mark is this really great leader, and he's not wrong. Mark was a really good person. He had done some really amazing things. He kind of hurt Paul and kind of let him down, but he'd done these amazing things. So he'd be a really good asset to the team. So Barnabas says, come on, like, let's give him another chance. And he had that bias because, too, Barnabas and Mark were cousins. So he was like, come on, like, I can't leave my cousin hanging. So he was like, let's just give him another chance. And Paul's like, no way, I'm done. I'm not doing that. And so these two are at a crossroads. And what we see in this thing in Acts is that they didn't actually come to a resolution here. Barnabas and Paul never came to that agreement of, okay, you know what, Barnabas, like, I'm going to let you bring Mark with us. Like, it's fine. I'll cave. That never happened. Barnabas never said, you know what, I'm going to ditch my cousin Mark here and I'm going to go with you. That never happened. What happened is that they parted ways. They decided to agree that they were in a disagreement and let that be okay. And what happened here is that conflict can be used by God. God utilized this conflict, and these two powerhouses created their own teams, and they went out and spread the good word of God on their own. Instead of going together and someone not being happy 100%, they decided to split up. Okay, Paul made his own group, and Barnabas took Mark, and they went their separate ways. And in fact, there was no true winner there, except the church kind of won on the other hand, because these two powerhouses were able to go out on their own and cover more ground and strengthen churches on their own. So really it worked out for the church, and God was able to utilize their tension for the better. And they strengthened churches on their own. They didn't have to go together. And so God utilized that tension. Now, for me personally, like I said, I hate conflict. So when I come across conflict, I want to end that thing as quickly as possible. Now, that being said, I'm not going to give up the way I think because I'm a stubborn person. I can admit that I'm a stubborn person. And I'm not going to give up the way I think about something just for that conflict to end. I'm going to wait for the person on the other side of me to be like, okay, fine, like I give up, like you're right, we can do it your way. I'm going to wait for that to happen. But when I'm coming across someone who's just as stubborn as me, that's not going to happen. We're going to sit here for hours and hours. So I just want to get the conflict over with, but I'm not going to do that by giving up how I feel. Also, as a Christian, I'm taught to love and be at peace with everybody. But here I see these two religious leaders being totally okay with having this conflict. And this kind of contradicts himself. Like, what am I supposed to do? As a Christian, I'm told to love everyone and be at peace with them. But here, Paul and Barnabas are not at peace because they're not agreeing right now. But what we found in the Bible is that these two went their own ways and they still stayed friends. Because for them, that conflict didn't have to be personal. Paul didn't look at Barnabas and say, you know what, you're choosing Mark over me, like we're done. We're not friends anymore, I'm gonna go my own way. And the same can be said for Barnabas. Barnabas didn't look at Paul and say, you know what, you don't wanna bring my cousin with me, like we're done. I'm not talking to you anymore. Nowhere, anywhere does it say that if you disagree with one of those 7 billion people that we have on this planet, like you guys can't talk anymore, you guys can't be friends. Nowhere does it say that. Because that conflict, it doesn't have to be personal. That conflict doesn't have to come between you. You can be okay with disagreement. And with that, you find relational peace. These two leaders found that relational peace that, you know what? I agree to disagree with you. I agree that Mark is a great leader, but I just am not trusting him right now. So I'm not going to leave with him. And Barnabas is agreeing, you know what? I agree that you've been hurt, and I'm so sorry that he did that to you. And we're going to agree to disagree right now. And they found that relational peace because those two, they were still friends. They still supported each other. They had that same ultimate goal of strengthening those churches and spreading the good word of God. So they had that same goal, and they still remained friends because they didn't make that conflict personal, and they found that relational peace. And that idea of relational peace, when I asked you guys that question earlier, what would be that true win of conflict? I would say it's that. I would say that true win of conflict is relational peace. It's realizing that it is okay to disagree with someone. It is okay to be like, you know what? You and I may not see eye to eye right now, but our relationship is so much bigger than that. Our relationship is not going to be affected by that. So that relational peace, that sounds great, but how do we get there? In the book of Romans, we find this. We find that do not repay anyone evil for evil. Do not repay anyone for evil. If someone wrongs me, if someone is having a conflict with me, I'm not going to fight back with a bigger conflict, okay? Because I hate conflict. So I'm not going to repay evil with evil. Carefully consider what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible on your part, live at peace with everyone. I just want to put out there that not all conflict can't not be personal. Okay, you can't find relational peace with everyone in every type of conflict. But if you can, try and find that peace and live at peace with everyone, because that would be the true win of conflict. So relational peace sounds great, but how do we get there? How do we get there? And I would say step one is ask yourself, what type of tension am I dealing with? Think of the bigger picture. What type of tension am I dealing with? And once you identify that tension, you can live with that relational peace. And we've got 4 types of tensions that I want to talk about for you guys to identify when you're in your next conflict. And the first is it a broken system? Am I dealing with a broken system? This looks like my tire blew out on my way to work and so I was late. Or maybe it's a bigger social injustice that's happening in our world today. And solving that looks like, you know what? I don't have a problem with you. Our problem is not personal, but I have a problem with the bigger broken system, that bigger social injustice at hand. It's not between you and me. It's between that bigger social injustice. Is it a tension with poor communication? I know this one's pretty self-explanatory. This one looks like not answering a phone call or a text. I know for some of us ladies in the room, we find this so hard with our boyfriends and the guys that we're talking to because they are so bad at communication. For guys in the room, I'm gonna just put it out there, you guys are terrible at communication, okay? I'm gonna apologize now, but you guys are so bad at communication. But this looks like, hey, I don't have a problem with you. This conflict isn't personal. There's just a lack of communication on both parts. Is it a problem with unmet expectations? This looks like, hey, I really wanted to go, and I thought it'd be fun, but you never invited me. Or I thought we were meeting up at my house before the game to get ready. Again, I don't have a problem with you. This conflict isn't personal. I just had expectations that weren't met. Is it a problem with someone's character? More often than not, you're gonna find that someone's character isn't actually the issue because you never really just randomly hate someone or you randomly distrust someone. Like there's normally something deeper going on there. But sometimes it's with someone's character. I want you guys to identify that type of tension because once you identify that type of tension, you can live more at peace with that person. You can identify that, hey, that tension is real and we're having a real conflict right now, but I'm gonna be okay with it. And I'm gonna live at peace relationally with you because it's not personal. That conflict isn't personal. And once you identify that, you can realize that, hey, conflict is real. Everyone goes through conflict. I know you guys probably are thinking of a situation in your head right now. Conflict is so real, and it's happening around you. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, conflict is inevitable. Okay, like you are not gonna go through life without experiencing some type of conflict. So conflict is real. But 2, conflict doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't have to get in the way of you and someone. When Paul and Barnabas disagreed, they didn't let that get in the way of their friendship. That conflict didn't get between them. They still remained friends because that relationship was so much bigger than them. And that 3, relational peace is the true win of conflict. Finding that peace that it's okay to disagree. We're gonna agree to disagree. I can still be friends with you even though I don't agree with everything that you do. I can go to bed at night knowing that my parents will still love me unconditionally even though I don't always see eye to eye with them. They may make a rule that I don't always agree with, but you know what? I still go to bed at night knowing that my parents love me no matter what. I go to bed at night knowing that my best friends still love me and will still support me regardless of the fact that we don't always think the same things. We don't always agree on certain topics, but I can go to bed knowing that we have that relational peace because it's the true win of a conflict. So as you guys go out, I want you to ask yourselves, am I okay with tension or do I always have to win? I hate conflict, but I really, really like that feeling of winning. So am I okay with finding that relational peace or do I really always have to be right and need them to say that, you know what, you're correct? Or am I okay with realizing that, hey, it's okay to disagree. We don't have to come to some sort of agreement. So are you okay with tension, or do you always have to win? And if you're okay with tension, I encourage you to identify what type of tension is it so that you can be at peace relationally. I would love to pray for you guys before we head into small groups. Hey God, I just want to thank you for each and every single individual in this room tonight. Lord, I just want to thank you for bringing them here and that we can come here to serve you and praise you, Lord, and that I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be up here. And I just hope that you go out and you watch over them as they go through conflict in their life, because I know there's going to be some conflict and that there's some tension, and that they just look to you, Lord, and realize that they can live at relational peace with the person on the other side of them. And that conflict doesn't have to be personal. We love you big and we need you. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Guys, if you need help finding where to go, I'm up here.